Welcome back, everyone. Kevin Shea with Jim Wilson, the editor for the high school editor for the Telegram-Gazette Sports and Home Team Magazine. And really, we put a wrap on the season. We'll start with, kind of the great debate of who's number one, Northbridge or Neshoba. The big question. I would love, of course, to have the true Central Mass Super Bowl and have those two teams play and then decide who the true number one team is. But you can make a case for both teams right here. You can make an easy case that Neshoba's number one because of those wins that they had, and especially on the road, beating Leominster, beating St. John's on a neutral site, beating all the teams that they had to, Wachusett, en route to go into the Super Bowl. And Northbridge rather, beating everyone that's in their path. So it's and look at some of the big wins that Northbridge had, dismantling St. Peter Marion. Right. So they're such a talented team. Exactly.
I don't think there's a wrong answer in terms of who you put number one. Because I think that we're talking right now at this point, we're talking about Super Bowl teams playing at Gillette Stadium. They're all going to be good.
Right.
But just like you said, it's just about you look at the peripheral stuff. I'm more of a who have you played, who have you beaten. That's why I had Neshoba over in Northbridge the last couple of weeks, heading into the playoffs where we start our poll for this. But it's all I think like I said, Neshoba coming in, beating a St. John's, beating a Leominster, just coming in with a you say every week they really don't have a stud 2,000-yard rusher or a guy like Zach Hume a couple of years ago who's just a threat on defense. They have 11 good football players on both sides of the ball, and that's how they're getting the job done. And that's not to say Northbridge isn't, because Northbridge right there, they have an all-star position. They shut down teams on both sides of the ball. Their defense is one of the best things you've seen. And they would shut down, I think, a Division II team if they had to play. But it's always an argument. What if they did it every week and all of a sudden people start going down with injuries? It's but you kind of want to play that what-if game. That's why the Shea Bowl at some point will happen.
I would love it. It would be outstanding. The MIA will come after me because this will be free admission for everyone if we have the Shea Bowl.
We'll push winter and spring back even more. We'll play it after Thanksgiving. It'll be fantastic.
It'll be great. We'll be a packed house. We'll play in a dome, perfect environment. Harvard, they have that bubble there at Harvard or BC.
Yeah.
We can play it there. Looking at some of the teams this year that I think really overachieved, and that's a combination of the kids and just the desire, the effort, the will that they put in, the work they put in and week out, and the coaching staffs who did such a great job. And we talk about Holy Name and Marlboro and Grafton, teams that really kind of opened eyes and did it on a week in and week out basis.
Right. Marlboro's one of those teams. Mahoney's done such a great job with that program for every year. They've had, Liam Shanahan's one of the best linemen you're going to see. Going Division I. I think that having that, they were one of those teams they sort of got overlooked a little bit because of the bigger brothers in the league and in Division II. They weren't, whether as sexy as Leominster or St. John's, but they're still. I don't think St. John's wanted to play them, because they're going to give you a battle every time with Capadonna and all those guys. They're going to give you a fix every time you play them. So they're a real tough team, but they get overlooked because I don't think they're on that level.
Right.
But still, they're
just right. They're a notch below the true elites, but they are, like you said, they're the team that no one in Central Mass wants to play because they're so well coached. They're so tough. Every single game they come, they hit. And you know what you're going to get with these Marlboro teams.
Right. And you saw that with Grafton and Holy Name in Division IV. We're all talking about when's the Shepherd Hill, St. Peter Marion going to play in the Super Bowl, or Doherty's going to be in there. They're all returning equipment. Well, they should have been, but they still want to play Thanksgiving.
Right.
But that's another frenzy for another time.
No, we can get into that later on too. We will get into that.
How much time do we have?
Oh, Thanksgiving.
But we have those teams who came in. They won big games when they had to.
Yes.
And they won. They ended up playing for the Central Mass title. It was a great game. Probably took 15 minutes to play. And it was just two teams just punch each other in the face for 45 minutes.
It was the board drill. It was just the board drill. We're going to do the board drill for 20 minutes. Then we'll take a little break, and then we'll resume. And we'll do the board drill.
Did they even play football? They just did Oklahoma drills. They just did Oklahoma.
Yep, just smash mouth. You and I have said this before, and off camera I've said this a ton to you, but Mike Pucko is one of the greatest coaches around, and I've said this for a long time. He can take his and beat yours. He can take yours and beat his. I mean, he's that good. He's that detail-oriented. He was putting in 80 hours a week just watching film this year and trying to devise schemes to some way give his team an advantage in how can we win week to week because of the numbers being so thin, but also even some of the starters they had out there really probably shouldn't have been playing varsity for another 2 years or 3 years. And when you were a freshman in high school or sophomore in high school, you're not ready to play varsity football. You could play maybe basketball, you could play baseball. You can't play football. It's a different sport. And you need that physical maturity. You need even the mental maturity. And to throw kids into the fire very early and too early, That's hard to do.
Especially the schedule they play, too.
Yeah.
I mean, every year you hear the rumors about this being Puck's last year. I'm hoping it's not the case. I'm hoping he's around forever because I think he deserves to go out wherever he wants. Because I
I'm with
think
you.
he's a tremendous asset. Like you said, for all the reasons you said before, with just the game planning and getting kids ready, playing above their space. But he's also the first guy to make a phone call for your player to get for a college spot or trying to find a prep school to play for. He doesn't care what uniform you wore those first 11, 12 weeks. He knows you love the game of football. You want to keep playing. He's to do his best to make sure you get most eyes on you as possible.
No, he calls people all the time. He calls Don Brown. He called Donnie Brown like a couple days ago. Donnie Brown, the defensive coordinator of the #1 defense in the country at Boston College, picks up his phone call right away. What do you got? Who are you trying to sell me here? And he's going to tell him about his kids. But like you said, he's going to tell him about other kids. He's going to tell him about this kid from Neshoba. I really think you should be looking at him. This kid from Shepherd Hill. And he'll do the same thing at UMass with Mark Whipple. And he'll do the same thing at all kinds of colleges, and not even just Division I. He'll do it at Division II. He'll do it at Division III. If you want to play football, he wants to find a place for you to play college football. And that's unique, that he's that unselfish.
And he doesn't care about how many trophies he has on his Coach of the Year or whatever. He's fine with the post-game party. He wants the kids to enjoy what football has given him over the years.
Right, and it's just great. It's a great. You and I both are obviously love football and think it's just such a phenomenal sport. Looking at, you kind of touched on it, the Thanksgiving Day, whatever you want to call it. It's not really a quandary because most teams it isn't. But Northbridge had it this year, and it was the first year that they've kind of really had to deal that we've had it before with Leominster and Fitchburg.
Oh yeah.
Northbridge plays Uxbridge in the Central Mass Super Bowl. They beat Uxbridge. Then they have to play them 10 days later on Thanksgiving. They're playing for a state championship in the Super Bowl against East Bridgewater, so they're resting guys. Some guys didn't play. A couple starters didn't play at all.
Some guys
left
at halftime.
A couple players stayed, just a half, limited role here and there. They lose to Uxbridge, and credit to Uxbridge because they played a great game. We're not taking anything away from Uxbridge, but you're not going all in like you would if that was the last game of the season. They're playing everyone. They're all in.
There's big asterisks on that game.
And there's another fault in this system for everyone that wants to say, well, it's nothing, it's nothing. Tell that to Northbridge. Tell it to the Northbridge coaches because, and the players, and those players that sat out their senior year, their Thanksgiving Day game, their senior year because they were nicked up. They would have played if it was the last game of their career, but they had a state Super Bowl to get ready for against an East Bridgewater team that they'll never see again. But those Uxbridge kids, they're going to see during basketball season, during lacrosse and baseball season, and there'll be those chants of Thanksgiving Day.
That's why I've heard a lot from coaches, especially the ones that have been to Gillette. They know what the atmosphere is. Everybody wants to win the state title. It's great for prestige and it's pride. But it pales in comparison sometimes to the Central Mass title game, which is like the big game for a lot of these guys. They want to be the best in Central Mass, and beating Western Mass and Eastern Mass is like gravy for them almost. Not that I'm not trying to downplay a Super Bowl, because it's a huge thing. Look at Doherty a couple of years ago. That was the best thing that happened to that program in 50 years, 60 years. And you don't want to take anything away from it because there's a lot of memories created there. But then you're losing, like you said, you're losing the Thanksgiving allure. You're looking at gates being down. It's not as much of a, I was joking with somebody on Thanksgiving Day when I was at Shrewsbury. It was a whole, in a sick way, I miss my phone blowing up from other coaches or texts coming in from other teams. Like, hey, you're at Shrewsbury, watch it. What's the score of that game? We're over here at Holy Name, Auburn. If Holy Name wins, they're going to go in the playoffs and all that stuff. I like that, having that chaos.
Exact conversation Mike Dubzinski and I had. Exact conversation. We missed the days of what happened at Fitchburg, Leominster. Hey, give me the score of Milford, Shrewsbury. That was awesome, and that was unique. It
my
was
wife
great.
hated it.
Yes. But everyone in football loved it. All the coaches, all the kids loved it. We're out of time. We got gypped again, Willie.
Oh, my word.
We didn't even get to the teams that we think are going to be good next year. We're going to have maybe
Director's
a hot
cut.
stove frenzy.
We're going to YouTube.
January. Yeah,
put on
YouTube. We'll give us the extended view.
Frenzy After Dark.
That'll do it for this edition of The Frenzy, but we got plenty more coming on The Frenzy, so stay with us.